Good afternoon, friends, neighbors, and my fellow Americans. Before I say anything else, tonight I want to give thanks to God for life, for clarity, and for the responsibility entrusted to us in this moment. I do not speak of Christianity lightly, nor do I associate myself with its name for familiarity or conformity. I do not wear it as a label, nor invoke it as a political ornament. I carry it as an allegiance to the Lord who gives us both bread and breath each day, whether we acknowledge Him or not. And it is for that reason I say plainly to you, those listening tonight, that I will never ally myself with the parties, lobbies, or institutions that actively erode Christianity while pretending to tolerate it. History shows us that the gravest internal damage is not inflicted by open enemies, but by those who claimed the name of Christ while choosing silence for the sake of access, acceptance, and power. There has not been a greater act of internal decay than when those who professed Christianity sat comfortably beside those who denied God within the same government, hands folded, voices quiet, while the cross, which stands as the most revered declaration of providence known to mankind, was dismissed, relativized, or replaced. They chose appeasement over witness. They sought reassurance from their colleagues rather than fidelity to truth. And in doing so, they forgot what the cross actually represents. The cross is not a decorative artifact, it is living proof. It is the embodiment of providence itself, visible, historical, and objective. John Adams understood this. So did the other founders, who recognized that the self-evident truths of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness could not exist without a moral order that preceded government. These rights were not granted by men, nor manufactured by law. They were endowed, and on endowment presupposes an endower. To claim that the cross misrepresents the nation is to deny the very idea of freedom itself, because freedom, rightly understood, is not the absence of moral truth, it is the ability to live in accordance with it. We have been told that freedom of religion means that anything may be worshipped and all belief systems stand equal before truth. That is not what the founders believed, nor what the Constitution was written to protect. The First Amendment was not drafted to accommodate every conception of deity imaginable. It was written to prevent sectarian warfare among Christians, to avoid the bloodshed that plagued Europe after the Reformation, where Catholics and Protestants turned political disagreement into open war. It was a safeguard of Christian unity, not a denial of Christian truth. To forget this history is not neutrality. It is blatant amnesia, and complacency in the face of this erosion is dangerous, because those who deny the cross do not stop there. They deny the people who live beneath it as well. We witness this pattern repeatedly across Europe, where Christmas markets are attacked, but Christian symbols are forbidden in the name of tolerance. Outside cathedrals, where worshipers are targeted, while the faithful are told to remain quiet. In public squares and central parks, where expressions of Christian identity are treated as provocation rather than inheritance. We see it in Congress, where moral clarity is dismissed as extremism. And we see it in the mass slaughters across parts of Africa, where Christians are murdered under the cover of political and military powers masquerading as religious movements. These are not coincidences. They are consequences. You cannot deny the cross and accept freedom. You cannot deny the cross and expect freedom. Nor can you deny freedom and expect the cross to endure. They are not opposing forces, they are inseparable. The cross reveals the cost of truth, freedom reveals its necessity. Where one is erased, the other soon follows. And a nation that attempts to separate them does not become more enlightened, it becomes unanchored. Our founding fathers and our ancestors understood this. They did not build blindly, they laid foundations with reverence and restraint, knowing that prosperity without providence would rot, and power without moral boundaries would devour itself. The question before us today is not whether the cross still matters to America, but whether America still remembers why it ever did. Public service is not theater, it is stewardship, and stewardship begins with truth. I've titled today's address, The Bridge Between Us, because Northern Kentucky quite literally lives on bridges, bridges of commerce, bridges of labor, bridges of families, and bridges of faith. But bridges do more than connect places. They reveal whether a society is willing to meet in the middle or retreat to its corners where the load increases. Tonight, it's not about slogans. It is about facing reality, honestly, without panic and without spin, because the people of this Commonwealth deserve leaders who tell them where we truly stand, not where a press release wants us to be. What I will share this afternoon is grounded in verified data from 2024 and 2025. But data alone does not govern a people. Vision does. Character does. And whether we are willing to govern with courage rather than convenience does. There is a dangerous illusion that has taken root in our public life. The illusion that progress begins by crossing rather than by building. We are told that motion itself is virtue, that speed is wisdom, and that arrival matters more than the integrity of the path we take to get there. Yet every engineer, every architect, every builder knows a truth older than politics and sturdier than campaign slogans. The construction of a bridge never begins by attempting to cross it. A bridge is not born out of motion. It is born out of stillness, out of surveying the ground, out of studying the soil, out of asking whether the earth beneath can bear the weight of what is to come. Before steel is raised, foundations are sunk. Before passage is permitted, permanence is tested. This principle does not belong to engineering alone. It belongs to civilization itself. A nation, a commonwealth, like a bridge, is meant to carry human lives across time. It exists to connect generations, to transmit values, to uphold justice, and to allow ordinary people to cross from uncertainty into stability, from hardship into opportunity, from chaos into order. And just as no bridge stands without a foundation, no nation in this commonwealth succeeds by building laws, policies, and institutions that are not firmly planted in moral, legal, and structural soundness. Northern Kentucky is one of the Commonwealth's great assets. By any serious economic measure, this region is thriving. It ranked third nationally in Site Selection Magazine's 2025 Global Groundwork Index. It has attracted over $10.2 billion in capital investment across 799 projects, supporting more than 77,000 primary industry jobs. Average wages now exceed $68,000 annually. while the cost of living remains roughly 6% below the national average. This region is not failing, it is firing on all cylinders. But momentum without direction leads to imbalance, and imbalance always finds the weakest family first. We feel this pressure is in housing. Median home prices across northern Kentucky have reached roughly $315,000, up around 5% year over year. Inventory remains tight. For young families, first-time buyers, nurses, teachers, deputies, logistics workers, and skilled tradesmen, this is not an academic issue. Housing affordability is now a workforce issue. And I reject the claim that this is just the market. Markets respond to rules. Governance sets the table. Growth that displaces the very people who create it is not prosperity. It is extraction. Which makes me move to my next section on taxes. Kentucky's tax structure is often praised, and in some respects, rightly so. We have no local sales taxes. We are transitioning to a flat income tax scheduled to drop to 3.5% in 2026. Property taxes remain moderate by national standards. But here is where honesty matters. The income tax disproportionately benefits the top earners, while downstream pressure is felt immediately elsewhere. Education budgets tighten. Medicaid now exceeds $3 billion annually. Rural services weaken. School districts feel the strain first and hardest. Lower taxes are not inherently righteous. Higher taxes are not inherently wicked. What matters is whether the burden is ordered toward the common good or distorted by political cowardice. My position is simple. Tax relief must never hollow out a state's moral obligations: education, infrastructure, public safety, and care for the vulnerable. Statewide, Kentucky made modest gains in reading, math, and science under revised standards. That matters. But Northern Kentucky bucked the trend. Boone and Kenton counties saw declines in overall school performance metrics. ACT scores continue to drift downward. Equity gaps persist, especially in underfunded and overextended districts. A state cannot brag about economic development while underinvesting in the formation of the next generation. Let us be perfectly clear here. A society that treats education as a budget rather than a moral obligation is preparing its own decline. I reject culture war theatrics in education. I believe in high standards, disciplined classrooms, teacher retention, parental authority, and accountability without ideological capture. Kentucky leads the nation in treatment capacity for recovery beds, yet continues to suffer from some of the highest opioid use disorder rates in America. Overdose deaths declined nearly 20% year over year. That is real progress. Lives matter. But synthetic drug, nitazines, fentanyl analogs are evolving faster than enterprise. The I-75 and I-71 corridor is not just an infrastructure challenge. It is a human one. Trafficking, addiction, broken homes, exploited children. This is where leadership must get uncomfortable. Settlement dollars must be transparent. Enforcement must be coordinated. Treatment must be accessible, not symbolic. Because this crisis will not be solved by slogans or billboards. It will take each and every one of us, all of us. Statewide, Kentucky faces sobering realities. GDP growth sits near 1.9%. Unemployment is improving, but still lags national trends. The state experienced a negative first quarter contraction. Nearly 23% of Kentucky's workforce is over the age of 55. Manufacturing remains heavy, while rural incomes sit roughly 26% below urban levels. Workforce participation is constrained by child care access, broadband gaps, transportation limits, and credential mismatches. Kentucky does not suffer from a lack of talent. It suffers from misalignment and neglect. This leads us to our next part, part 6, the youth, the children, and the communities. At this point, it is right that I turn to those who live longest with what we build or fail to build. Must be said, history is not kind to societies and people that neglect their youth. Not because young people are weak, but because they are unfinished. Hannah Arendt warned us that education is the point at which we decide whether we love the world enough to assume responsibility for it. We ask the young to cross bridges we never reinforced, and then we criticize them when they hesitate. Freedom is not weightless. As Tocqueville reminds us, liberty cannot be established without morality, nor morality without faith. Children learn more from what they see consistently practiced than from what they are told occasionally declared. Communities shape character long before curricula do. So if we want bridges that last, we must teach the next generation not merely how to cross them, but why they exist, what holds them up, and how to repair them when they crack. I am not running to manage decline politely. I am running to restore order where disorder has been tolerated, economically, culturally, and politically. My campaign, as well as my political philosophy, stand on 3 pillars: government as steward, not overlord; accountability before ideology; and dignity over work, family, and community. I am young, yes, but renewal has never come from exhausted systems protecting themselves. It comes from those willing to rebuild from the ground up. So, Northern Kentucky, you are a strong Kentucky that is not broken. But strength without vision, strength without wisdom, becomes merely arrogance. Impatience without courage becomes complicity. I ask for your trust, not because I claim perfection, but because I am willing to confront reality honestly, to govern with constraint, to legislate with consequence in mind, and to rebuild foundations rather than perform for applause. If we restore the Commonwealth, it will be done together, with eyes open, hearts steadied, convictions rooted deeper than any election cycle. And I believe that it can be done. Thank you. God bless you, and may Kentucky be worthy of the generations yet to come. We will be going live also later this evening. We've fallen behind just with doing some other things. We're shooting for going live tonight around 9 or 10. This will be more of a national episode. Don't want to give you away too much, but I think it'll be a good episode. So tune in around 9. We're doing a double whammy today, but our schedule's back. We'll be going on during the weekdays. We let the holidays kind of go by, and now we need to lock in, right? So with that all being said, we'll see you guys later this evening. Have a good one. Have a good rest of your day. We look forward to hearing from you later on. Also, if you want to go check out the campaign website, go to Seth Winslow Young, all one word, .com. If you have any information, you can email at campaign@SethWinslowYoung.com. We would really appreciate you to take your time to go and look at the website for what we stand for, what our goal is, what our vision is, how we plan to represent you. And if you have any questions on if you would like to help, if you would like to know more information about it, what our planned events are, then you can feel free to reach us at the email that I just listed, which is campaign@SethWinslowYoung.com. And the website is SethWinslowYoung.com. Thank you guys so much. Take care.